Today, we have the honor and the pleasure of speaking with a true master distiller. We're talking with Jose Valdez of Tequila Partida. We're going to get to know, obviously, the brand, the tequila, a little bit about his process. And we're also going to get to know him, his day-to-day, his life, and what does it really mean to be a master distiller. So stay tuned. We're lucky to have a master distiller here, and this is going to be a lot of fun. Arte Agave podcast. Very excited. We had some technical difficulties getting this going, but we are here. My friend Jose Valdez, it's good to see you. Master distiller for Tequila Partida. How's everything going? We are post-pandemic right now. How's it been? How's the family? And how's the brand?
Thank you, Walter, for this opportunity to have a chat and to share about Tequila Partida, myself, and about the Mexican culture.
Yeah, awesome, man. Well, we appreciate you being here. What's going on with the brand, my friend? It's what's new, what's exciting. I've heard that it's been sold to another brand. Tell me what's going on in the world of Tequila Partida.
Sure, it's a long story, short story. We started Partida back in 2005, and we launched the brand in the US, in the major cities, and then 3 years later in Mexico. And we worked very hard to consolidate the operation at the distillery and the packaging and logistic and distribution, as well as marketing and building the team. And basically, the most important thing, the product, to perfecting the liquid, the tequila blanco, which is the base of the rest of the tequila. And after many, opportunities to partner with some companies, we did a distribution partnership in 2017 with Edrington for 5 years. That expired last March 31st. And this year we were acquired by a group called Lucas Bols. It's a company based in Netherlands, in Amsterdam. It's the oldest distillery in Europe, probably in the world. It's 400 and I think almost 450 years old.
Yeah.
And they have a Geneva and vodka and balls, as well as premix and ready to enjoy products, and also liquors, Italian Galliano, Sambuca, and now the French Nouveau and Passoa, which is a Brazilian. And the newest addition is Tequila Partida. We are very happy and excited to start building the brand in the US and continue building in Mexico for the next couple of years, and eventually look for selected market in the world, because Lucas Bols, one of the strangest, is the distribution in 110 countries.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So expansion is on the horizon, or at least in the thoughts. What is that going to look like, you think? And as far as production, you guys have enough tequila in the barrels, or are you just ramping up production, or what's happening at the distillery?
Well, we as a brand and as a team, I would say the most distinctive characteristic of Partida is to do the things right, to do the things, take the time to plan and to act with integrity, and to be transparent in terms of the product. So we are additive free company. We don't add any coloring or flavoring or any chemical or natural essence. And also we plan in advance for the aged product. So we are happy to have enough inventory for Reposado Añejo, Extra Añejo, and Roble Fino. So we are ready to consolidate the distribution that Lucas Bols has in the US. They have more than 20 people around US selling other products, but now Partida it's going to be the new addition, and I would say one of the most important product because it's a ultra premium tequila, no? And most of the products of Lucas Bowls is a premix, is a cocktail ready to enjoy. So it's a value product. So it's more based on volume rather
Yeah.
than premium. And obviously tequila, it's been the hottest spirit in America in the last 5 years.
Yeah, it's a very, very exciting category. I think it's what almost the number two selling in America, and I think New York City it's number one consumed spirit in that city. So that's really exciting. You mentioned no additives, no preservatives, nothing in your tequila. Is it? And I know this. It's not a rule that you have to you can add it or not add it, but there's no rule though of putting it on the bottle. Like some companies don't have to be transparent with it, right? They can just hide it, the fact that they've added whatever to it, right? Is that it's kind of a wild west when it comes to that rule of additives. Is that correct?
You are absolutely correct. Is completely legal to use any type of additive as long as it's not much than 1% of the volume or the weight of the product.
Hmm.
And it's okay. I think the original idea of additives and coloring was to standardize in certain way,
Hmm.
but like everything in the human, we abuse about things to make shortcuts, which is something that we don't like. And we have applied and we have the verification of Tequila Matchmaker free additives. This company and this guy and his wife, Robert and Scarlett, they're I met them 15 years ago. They're moved from the U.S. to Mexico to Tlaquepaque, and they are passionate about the tequila that they don't want to do the shortcut. They want to do
Hmm.
the focus more on the 100% natural tequila, the way it has been done 400 years ago.
Yeah, it's interesting then. I think, as we're doing our Arte Agave events around the globe, around the country, like more and more consumers are starting to get that knowledge because they think that, hey, a reposado or a añejo needs to be this really dark caramel coloring. And then they find these other bottles that are very light and they question that. They're like, why is that? And they're very surprised, like I was years ago, to be like, oh, it's just caramel coloring or it's agave to sweeten it or whatever in there. So I think it's coming around a lot, especially with the consumers and finding out they're like, okay, now we know why the darker the tequila does not. It's not like bourbon or something where it's like a nice. You want like a nice dark bourbon whiskey. With tequila, you want to make sure it's a natural color that's in there. So it's exciting that you guys are doing that. I see all your bottles on the back. Very exciting. Um, Tell me about this. I don't know much about the sherry cask that you guys have released in the past. Is this something that's continuing? It's something that's going to be part of the portfolio.
Yes.
Yeah, tell me about that a little bit. I'm excited.
So one of the last developing that we did after perfecting the baseline, as we call La Familia, is the Blanco, the Reposado Añejo, and Extrañejo. We decided to innovate in terms of double maturation, finishing
Mm,
in one of the finest Scotch whiskies that previously was used with sherry. It's a Spanish oak that has been used for 2 or 3 years in sherry, and then sent to Scotland for aging single malt whiskey, Scotch. And we use those casks to finish our reposado and añejo. So we
mm,
create three products. One is the roble fino reposado, which is our baseline of reposado that has 6 months of aging in bourbon barrel, plus 2 months of aging in this ex-sherry single malt cask. And we decided to bottle at 43% alcohol by volume, and that's the reposado. And then we decided to create another reposado called Cristalino. So the same process as I mentioned previously for the reposado, but use and adapt to what the consumers, a lot of consumers are asking for cristalinos. And we decided to create Roble Fino Reposado Cristalino, which is, like I said, the same process plus a filtration with activated carbon or charcoal filter to remove the majority of the color, and I would say also some flavors. Not all of them. I would say in Cristalinos remains a lot of the aromas, but not the taste. The taste
Mm.
is removed, not completely because it's very hard to completely remove, but is it make it I would say smoother in certain way, but also bitter.
Mm.
That's very challenging to do cristalinos without using uh, flavoring, artificial flavoring. If you are a certificate brand such as us, without additives, it's very hard to create a cristalino because if you abuse or somebody abuse of the quantity or the time of activated carbon, eh, you may be surprised with the finishing very astringent.
Mm.
That's the word,
Yep.
astringent. Not pleasant to invite you to another drink. So we create this roble fino reposado and reposado cristalino, and then the third one is the añejo roble fino. The añejo roble fino is the same idea. It's a double maturation, a double aging, a finishing of our añejo baseline, which is 18 months of bourbon or ex-bourbon barrel. And after that, we finish for 5 months in this ex-sherry single malt whiskey barrels cask, because it's not barrels, it's 200. The difference is a barrel, it's normally 200 liters, and a cask is 240, 250, depends on the if it's a Hofket or it's another shape of the barrel, but it's a sherry, it's a European
Mm.
uh, cask.
Yep.
And also they have a 500 liters punchon and pots. But we decided to use only the 250 because it's more intense. And the alcohol by volume in this añejo roble fino, it's 45%.
Mm. So why go down this road? What made you look at these sherry cask? Is it something that I guess walk me through, like, your process a little bit. Was it somebody just suggested it? Do you like sherry? What was the process of going down this road, and how many times did you play around with it or experiment with it before you were like, okay, this is something we're gonna actually do?
Yes, the idea of roble fino was during the partnership with Dadrington.
Mm.
I was able to do a trip to Scotland to visit their distilleries, their whiskey distillery, and to meet uh, the whiskey makers and the master of woods and the master of blended. So they have three master. Three in tequila we have one master, no, which oversee everything, the agave until the finished product. But in whiskey and Scotch whiskey specifically, tree mastering. So the whiskey maker is the person that actually makes the new make, the
Mm.
liquid, which is the blanco, let's say. And then the master of wood is the person that developed the wood and supervise the production and select the oaks and all the process to make the wood. And the last one is one of the most important, as well as the whiskey maker, is to balance the blends, no?
Mm.
Because in whiskey, some barrels produce a certain profile, and another type of barrel produce another type of aromas and essence. So it's a mastering actually, which is
Yep.
proof, quite honest experience, proof and error, and learn from other people for many years how to do this blending correctly to make I don't know, to launch a new innovation. And because Edrington, it's very good in innovation, especially with Macallan, but also with Glen Rothes and Highland Park. So we after this trip we said, hey, why don't we experiment and say, why don't can we have a few barrels so we can experiment? And they say, yeah.
Cool.
So we receive some barrels. We asked only three. They sent 40 or something like that.
Nice guys.
Yeah, but it's a problem to have an empty barrel, right? And it's very costly to fill with
Yep.
tequila. So we didn't use all of them. We used only four: Purin Blanco, Reposado, Añejo, and Extra Añejo. And every week we took samples of every barrel, and I tasted, but not only myself. Also, we have a tasting panel team at the distillery and a tasting panel team at our corporate offices in Guadalajara to evaluate, no, to be more consensus evaluation about the product and the evolution. And we learned a lot of things. The first thing is that the Blanco it didn't go well with the sherry oak. However, Reposado, yes, and Añejo too. No, Extra Añejo, no, because it's a lot of the first aging is very strong, so
Right.
is saturated, if you will, no, saturated of color.
And how long does your anejo rest for?
Our core
Your
line
core, yeah.
añejos, it's 18 months, a
18
year and
months.
a
Okay.
half.
Got it.
So we did after I think 3-4 months of tasting, we said, okay, for Reposado, it's like a cure, and the peak of that cure was around 2.5 months. So we decided to, okay, Reposado, we developed one product, is that. For the añejo, we wait more and say, no, it's not going to improve. And after 5 months, we said, wow, now the añejo is ready. And another chapter of the developing of the product is to decide the alcohol by volume. And again, it was proof and error. There's no tricky. It's making sample from 40% alcohol up to 50, 51% with a with a scale of 0.5 alcohol, no? Like 40.5, 41, 41.5, and so on up to the.
So do you taste all these in one day, or is this you
No,
do? Okay.
no, and
Okay.
because I like sports, I run marathons.
Yeah.
I don't drink during the week and during the tastings. I unfortunately I have to speed it because I taste a lot, and
Right.
I
I
mean,
bet.
and or sometimes I'm at the distillery, which is 45 minutes from Guadalajara, but I have to drive back and continue working at the afternoon.
Yep.
So. Yes, unfortunately. I mean, I enjoy, but when the is done, the finished product is done, and in my free time or with the family and friends, and yes.
Yep. Yeah. So your process, so you're tasting everything on the different alcohol levels and just narrowing it down to, and how long did that process take from ideation to it's in a bottle?
You mean to make the finished product or during the developing?
Yeah, I guess the whole development, like you have this idea, you were shipped the barrels from the time you started playing around with it to the time it's in a certain bottle with a package on it. Did it take 6 months, a year, 2 years? What was the development of the
It,
whole?
if I went to Scotland in September 2018,
Hmm.
and we launched Roblefino right when the COVID started
Okay.
in March 2020.
Yeah. Okay. So pretty quick. So you had this idea to put it together and
Well,
within it.
we have a weekly meeting with the team of Edrington in the US and Scotland, the team at the distillery, and the team in Guadalajara. And that is just the liquid. The challenge, you have to work parallel to develop the packaging with the marketing agency, and then with the glass company and the caps, and that is another challenging process.
Yeah.
Very, very, very challenging. I would say is more challenging, and
Yeah.
I enjoy more the liquid, obviously.
I bet.
Yeah, because supply. I mean, it's worse right now because of the COVID. Everything is more expensive, taking longer. But quite honest, in Mexico, sure, We have a very challenging aspect in sourcing, in
Mm.
professionalism, in delivery quality and on time.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, you mentioned, other things that you had to do, the glass bottles. I think people hear, Master Distiller of a tequila brand, very exciting. I'm sure in people's minds that you're just literally just sitting around with nice glasses, drinking tequila all day. Give me a little snapshot to a day in the life of Jose Valdez. What does that look like?
Well, I became maestro tequilero, which is basically an expert in production of tequila from the agave until the finished product. Uh, we call in the industry as the unit operation, which is
Mm,
one one unit is the farming, the sourcing, the cultivation of the agave, and then sourcing, harvesting, and selecting the right agave, and then the distillery. In the distillery, we have the cooking process, milling, fermentation, distillation. That's the four units basic, and then we have the aging, and then the treatment, which is dilution, filtration, and prepare the liquid stabilization, tasting to bottle, to put
mm,
the liquid in the bottle. So uh, I oversee that part with many people, with people at the distillery, with the agave farmers, with suppliers, because we have local supplier of the packaging, the caps and the glass and the labels and the cartons, and then I also have the position of general manager in Mexico. So I oversee logistic, operation, finance, human resources, and sales in Mexico as well
jeez.
as receive visitors. So a little of everything. Uh, and I split my time between Guadalajara, where we have this office, the corporate offices, uh, and also the distillery, which is in Tequila Town. So,
Gotcha.
so a day in my life is split between working with the team at the office, which is back office, basically administration, logistic,
Yep.
procurement, IT, legal, human resources, sales, and which is more job. And then the distillery, I have a full team that is working for Partida, and is led by a distillery manager, a person which is a chemist uh, that used to work in big companies and has the skills and the experience to manage and to negotiate with the people and with the agave and to plan and execute everything. So I met my team at the distillery at least once a week. But when we are producing or bottling, I go every day. No,
Mm.
normally every day. Uh, yes.
Wow. So you're, yeah. Again, you got your hands full. Man of many hats. Again, I think that would surprise people. I think they just think it's like just the most beautiful job that you're swimming in tequila every day. But you're up early, meetings, and then you're at the distillery, making sure everything's running smoothly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
So how do you balance? I mean, you have three kids, right? Oh no,
I have
two,
four kids. I
four
have
kids.
two boys and two daughters. Yes, and
What
yes,
what's everyone's age?
that's 11. It's 9. It's 6, and it's 3.
Wow. Okay. So you got your hands full at the office, hands full at the distillery, hands full at home as well. How do you manage your time between family and running a luxury tequila brand?
Well, I think it's there is a saying that because there is a big excuse, no, that we don't have time. No,
Mm,
that time is a scarce resource for everyone, but we have time for things that we care. No,
mm,
and I save time for my family. I save time for me because I like sport. I run, and I like to pray as well. So I save time for those things first of all, because if I'm fine, if I run, if I meditate and
mm.
pray, and if I'm good with my family, I can. It's the basis
Yep.
for the professional life. So yes, I never I start my day very early with a run, and then I go for I pray every day. So I pray in the morning, and after run and pray and breakfast with my family and take my kids to the school,
Yep.
everything I think is a winning for me. It's
Mm.
enough. And twice or 3 days a week, I try to eat with my family as well.
Yep.
Nowadays, the kids are getting older and they have multiple activities in the schools, or soccer, or karate, taekwondo, or music, or many activities. So it's more challenging.
Yeah.
So that's what I care. And in the business is to trust in the people and build a good team to help you to run the business.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I think a lot of people, like you said, they don't have time, right? It's always that excuse, And if it's something you really want and something you really want to do, you will find the time. And I think it's amazing that you get up and people always ask me too, how do you have a family and run a business, do all this stuff? It's like, just if you get up and concentrate on yourself for a little bit, like you said, you're good to go. I got my workout in, I got my mindfulness in, I spent my time with the kids. Anything after that is just gravy. You operated on your time for the first hour or 2 hour, and then you can go concentrate on other things. And I think that's amazing, especially for somebody in the alcohol business, because a lot of stories in the alcohol business is total opposite. Got home late, woke up late, ran to here and started doing all this stuff. So that's great that you figured it out of the life work balance.
Yes, thank you, Walter. Yes, I mean, I've been in this business for 16 years, and I try to apply what I have learned from other people.
Yeah. So are you running every day? What is the workout just every day? How far are you running?
I run marathons, and I I need to run every day except one day, which is normally Sunday, when I do long distance on Saturday. So Sunday is just rest.
So
But
you
yes, every day.
so you're running like a marathon every Saturday, or you're like,
No,
so
no, no,
how
no.
far do you run? Like, how many miles are you doing?
Well, the last marathon I did was in Sacramento, and it was 3 hours and eight 8 minutes.
Wow.
So I virtually classified for Boston Marathon for 2023. So hopefully next week, I mean next year,
Yeah.
I'll be. It's my dream. So it's my and Sacramento was my number 6 marathon. And,
Wow.
Toronto, Chicago, Guadalajara, Puerto Vallarta, Querétaro.
Jeez. Are you doing anything else, or are you just focusing on running? Anything else with the workouts?
Focus on running. I did triathlon and I did soccer my whole life, and
Jeez.
but now my focus was, and my goal was to run Boston. So after Boston, I'm planning to go back to triathlon, to Ironman,
And
hopefully.
what does a meal plan look like for you? Are you constantly eating? Are you loading up on carbs? Like, what's your diet look like when you're training so much?
I mean, to be honest, Walter, I don't have a nutrologist.
Gotcha.
My bad. But I don't have a
I don't either.
nutrologist. So I lose weight, a lot of weight
I
sometimes
bet.
when I start running more miles, especially let's say like 2 months before a marathon. So I try to compensate with carbs and other things, but learning from reading, for podcasts, from listening, no,
Yeah.
yes,
Wow, that's interesting. I mean, I love all the hard work you have before you even get to the family and get to the master distill. I mean, get to the distillery. That's really cool. You mentioned, about 16 years. How did you get into the tequila business? I mean, how are you always fascinated with tequila? I mean, just kind of give me a little background on what you're doing and how you got into the tequila business.
of course. Mm, I grew up, I would say my childhood was, there's three events that affect myself and my vision of what to do in my life. I would say the first one was my dad job when I was very young, and those memories that you still remember in your
Hmm.
childhood. I don't
Yeah.
know which age, but 6, 7. I remember my dad business was to construction of well, to to create wealth
Mhm.
by deep wells construction,
Yeah.
and in a lot of in farming in Jalisco.
Mm.
For many industries, obviously the water is what everyone needs, no, to make corn, to make anything. And I used to enjoy a lot with my dad going on Saturday to these agave fields of everything, and I learned about that uh, the hard work of people in the farming, that
Mm.
how long it takes. The second, so I relate that to I want to be in an industry that comes from the farming. No, from it's a
Mm.
product from the farming.
Gotcha.
I didn't know what exactly, but something from the farming,
Mm.
something from natural resources, and the water. The water is important. The second thing is about the alcohol. My grandfather was an alcoholic, and
Mm.
the father of my father, uh, he because of this problem, my dad, which is the oldest son, took one day my grandmother took all the family out of the house, and my dad was the man of the family when he was 13 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was when obviously I didn't know until my dad
Mm.
told me, and I asked this to my dad because I noticed when I was teenagers that my dad didn't drink alcohol. We went to
Mm.
parties, and I see, uncles or, family relatives enjoying beer
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
tequila or whatever, or getting drunk. And my dad was very calm. Yeah, he's very social, but social, behavior with no alcoholic.
Mm.
You as a teenager identify that.
Right. Right.
So, but every Sunday, my dad religiously, he likes the family put together. We are eight in my family, eight kids.
Wow.
Yeah, so big family. And Sunday it was the most important meal for the family, barbecue. And my dad has in a cabinet, locked, a bottle of tequila.
Mm.
So he poured a caballito of tequila every Sunday, and he spent like literally an hour and a half or 2 hours to complete one caballito. So I grew up with that,
Yeah.
and eventually in Mexico you get drunk. I mean, not get drunk, but get start drinking alcoholic beverage before 18 years old, which is the legal age. I would
Yep.
say 16. My first beers were I was at 16. But
Mm.
I noticed that my dad has something special. No, I didn't know what is
Yeah.
that, and I started with beer, and I love beer. I really like beer, and actually my idea was to work in a company that makes beer. And Mexican beer is very popular in the world, so Corona or Tecate or Dos Equis or
Yeah.
any of these beer. However, that fact that my dad appreciation for the tequila, that
Mm.
was the connection that I said, okay, tequila is it's only Mexican, right? Yeah, because beer can be made in everywhere, but tequila is only Mexico. So I
Mm.
realized that has the element that that I'm passionate about it, which is farming, which is people
Yeah.
related, natural resources, water, and is the respect for the culture, which is Mexico, the family, and the enjoying, but with measurement, sipping. So I learned
Mm.
sipping when even before I was drinking tequila.
Right.
What was the importance of sipping a good tequila? So
Yeah.
I think the quality and the process of farming transformation into liquid and then enjoying in a family in a final product. I think that's the most important things that I said, okay, I need to work in the tequila industry. And I decided to study college.
Mm.
Industrial engineer was the career that adapt more to understand the whole vision of the production process. And because chemist is very important. And
Yeah.
I was about to study chemist because it's a physical, chemical transformation of the sugar into, into alcohol, and then aging, which is another process, chemical process to get the color and get the flavors. But I said, okay, that's important, but I think it's important also to have a vision of the balancing of the agave transformation in liquid, and then distribution, which has a lot of industrial engineer distribution, logistic, finance. So I studied that, and eventually, after visiting many distilleries and trying to learn what to do, I was lucky enough to visit Europe and learn that no good tequilas brand in the whole continent, and actually the reputation of tequila in Mexico, in Europe, was very bad, very
Yep.
terrible. So, and in the US, only a few brands. In that time, I think it was only Don Julio and maybe Patron. But no Porfirio. I think it was another called Porfirio, but no good artisanal brand. So I have that dream to be part of a new brand that represent the color of Mexico, and that's the reason we,
Yeah.
because colorful is joy, is Mexico, no, is what we are.
Yep.
And so this dream, along with that investor, a major investor in the U.S., that happened in 2000, before 2005, and we were able to create this brand and to launch it in those years.
Wow, that's super interesting. I didn't know you were heading in that direction at all. Um, with I don't know. There's usually some funny, crazy stories, but like you really have something passionate. Two main things that um, were showcased in your life about farming, and then finding this, sipping tequila, and putting it all together. I mean, that's really cool. Um, how's your family now? I mean, how are gatherings? I mean, you have 8 siblings. You have a bunch of kids. Is it
Yes,
madness around the holidays, or?
it's madness. It's crazy. Every day is Christmas. Is Thanksgiving Day. Is amazing. Because
Yeah,
all my brothers, as you can imagine, has the same average kids that I have. I have one brother that has four. I have another that had three. I have another that have two. Another that have two. So I think now we have my grandparents has. I mean, my parents have around 13, 14 grandkids. So imagine all together, I have only one brother living outside of Jalisco,
yeah,
which is living in Baja, but the rest of the family is in Guadalajara. So every Sunday, literally,
yeah,
it's a big, it's fine. I love it.
yeah. That's awesome. I mean, you have to love it, right? I mean, it's we have a pretty good neighborhood where I live too, and our house is one of those houses that all the kids just kind of come into, and a lot of times we're making dinner for the neighbor, and we're just like texting the neighbor, and we're saying, hey, your daughter's here, she's sitting at the table with us, and people always ask, like, doesn't that bother you? I'm like, this is what a house is for, it's what a home is for. I mean, I want people in here, I want controlled chaos, I want my kids laughing, I want my wife happy, I want to enjoy it. I mean, I have my space in my bedroom and my little studio podcast here, and I can get away if need be. But I'm kind of like you, I guess. I love kind of the chaos of friends and family and just coming over and having a good time.
Yeah, it never quiet, never quiet. You miss sometimes you miss your space and your quiet room.
Yep.
But when you have those, you're boring. You need the noise. You need the and quite honest. I grew up with that, so I wanna give that to my kids as well and my family. And I truly believe that the kids love to hang out, and they develop skills, and they're more happy. They're happier
Hmm.
when they have conversation and relationship with other kids.
Yep. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And then you could always go running to get your own personal time.
There you go.
See,
That's
that's the
my
real reason. That's the now we know.
and I don't wrong with music. I just wanna
Mm.
quiet and listen my body and my thinking, and it's my escape valve.
That's your balance. I love it. So what we touched upon the agave category going through the roof. Just it doesn't seem like there's an end to it. What do you think the future of tequila is going to look like? I mean, I feel like there's a new brand every day, a new celebrity brand every day. What do you see the future of tequila, and obviously the future of Partida playing in that space as well? What does it look like?
Well, you are absolutely right. 2021 was a record year for harvesting agave. I think the industry grew around 45% more versus to
Wow.
2020. So it's crazy. We grew normally like, I don't know, double digit, but 10, 11. And this 40 plus something, it was crazy.
Wow.
And as well as exportation, especially obviously 80% of exportation goes to the US. Uh, and I see consumers are discovering now aging tequilas. I think that's the differentiation.
Mm,
uh, I think the COVID and the pandemic and the shelter in place brings the opportunity to the consumers to discover sipping aging tequilas, especially añejos and extrañejos, and that's the reason I see a shortage. It's a big issue for big
mm,
brands that they don't have inventory. They are buying bull tequila from anyone. I have no, now, but last year I received message and emails asking for añejo and extrañejo and calls for friends in the industry. Say, hey, do you have 20,000 liters of añejo or whatever? Or even if you have 1,000 liters of añejo, I need them. It's for a big client, and we need that. Uh, like, like I said, I think the industry is growing. It has more space, as well as premixes and seltzers
mm.
and ready to
Yeah.
drink, ready to
Yeah.
enjoy is growing. That's why Lucas Bold is growing a lot in the US. The ready to enjoy in can, in bottles, in tubes, aluminum tubes. People want quality over quantity. They are
Yeah.
discovering that's why they're paying for extra añejos, and
Hmm.
cocktails or seltzers with low calories. And the thing is that with the additives, is no low calories at all. The additives has a high fructose, has a lot of sugar content, and it's obviously it's not natural and it's not good for everything in abuse is bad, no?
Yeah.
So so I see the industry is going to continue growing. The Partida, and we need to consolidate the brand. The good things about Partida is the reputation of the brand. The brand
Mm,
is a brand that remains with consistency and quality. We don't like shortcuts, and people think we are bigger than we are, and we are not. But the, that's good because we see Partida in many places. The distribution is good. I would say in almost the 50 states we are there, and I mean nowadays with the Lucas, what we expect to grow as the brand deserve. That
mm.
we've been working for many years, and with many strategies and with many efforts. So I think the next couple of years is key for Partida, and I don't pay attention to the new brands because brands they need to do
Yeah.
they have their own story, and at the end shipping tequila from Mexico to the US is not the same as selling bottles and selling moment experience and loyal customers. That takes time, and hopefully uh, we consolidate that, no?
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Just concentrate on yourself and the brand, and don't worry about the next tequila that's popping up.
Yes. But you're
Yeah.
right. Celebrities every month at least is launching new brands, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you think it's I mean, obviously the more people getting into it, the more celebrities that get into it. I mean, I have a lot of friends in the bar industry, and half of them don't care, the other half completely hate it. They think it's terrible. But if you do have somebody like The Rock who has 350 million followers posting about tequila, it's obviously going to bring more eyeballs to the category. So do you think it's helping at all that there's all this new attention on it, or do you think it's taken away from a little, maybe some of the culture, the heritage, or do you really just don't care and you're concentrating on your family and Partita?
No, I do think it's good. I don't see is bad. I think it's good as an industry,
Mm,
as consolidate tequila, because outside, um, outside the brands of tequila, we are a cluster of tequila that competes with the bourbon, that competes with the whiskey, Scotch and Irish and Japanese whiskey, that competes with other categories, and we are a big industry that is growing and that we generate jobs for many people in the distilleries and in the agave fields and the brokers and the glass bottles that are made in Mexico. So everything that brings more to the industry, that it create a wellness for people in Mexico, I think is okay. Uh,
mm,
the problem is the problem is that sometimes the one that makes more money is the last layer of
mm,
the chain, and normally it's not the money. It's not in Mexico. It's a global companies, and
mm,
they're using the word and the product tequila to make more money, but they don't reinvest that money in Mexico.
mm.
That's the issue that I see. But like I said, if more people, if The Rock or the Kardashian are promoting tequila, that's good. Or George Clooney or whatever is promoting Partida Tequila, it's good. It's good because it's the industry, and more people that maybe he was a whiskey drinker that hate tequila, and now that maybe he's a fan of The Rock or the
Yep,
Kendra, and they said, okay, these guys, they're celebrities. They have the money to buy everything, and they
yep,
like tequila. Why? Let me try. I had a terrible experience in college,
yep,
hangover, and I said, I quit for tequila, but I'm going to give a second chance to tequila, to good tequilas. And I'm going
yep,
to start with the celebrity. Now, I don't care. It's good because they're going to start with the celebrity. And then the bartender, like your friends, are going to say, hey, there's other good
yep.
stuff out there
Mm-hmm.
in the same price or even cheaper that you can find for yourself, sipping. And by the way, Partida is an excellent brand.
I agree with that. And that's, I mean, I kind of looked at it that way too. I'm like, you're just bringing more attention to it. At the end of the day, it's not like they're going to keep drinking that celebrities tequila. I mean, there's some that are good out there, but they're going to switch and they're going to say what else is there. And once you get them into that tequila category, I mean that's when it gets addicting, because that's when I was a bartender, we served a lot of Patron, right? And then people came in New York 10 years ago, 9 years ago, they were starting to switch. And they were like, what else is there? What other brand do you have? What is this Reposado? What is the Nejo thing? Like, so I'm kind of on the board with you. I'm like, more eyeballs, once they get in, then the brands like yourselves that have this really good luxury product that tastes amazing, you're going to start taking them. You're going to start winning them over. So yeah, I'm sort of a pro when it comes to that. But to your point, also, I guess what it really comes down to is what brand is doing it the right way from the farmer to the shelf, in New York City, because you're saying, a lot of people in Mexico are just producing this thing, but the money is trickling over the border and over into other people's pockets, and the people who are actually producing this product, or people have been doing it for generation after generation, are not making the money that maybe they should be.
Yes, I think it's changing a little because of the price of the agave.
Mm,
Uh, and the price of the agave obviously is a trending topic in the last 4 years.
yeah.
But long story, short story, to my perspective, the agave, based on our studies, is not an issue of supply and demand, an offer and demand thing. The
Mm,
price, I don't know if you know, Walter, but the price of agave is super expensive. It's almost 30 pesos, or 30 pesos for premium agave. When we started Partida 16 years ago, it was 1 peso, so 30 times more is the
wow.
agave.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. And my statement is that it's not a fact of offer and demand. I think it's many people in the change of agave industry is making a lot of money with this price. They don't want to go down those prices. So
Mm.
it's something that in certain way it's a bad thing in certain way, but it's a good thing is if that money is for actually for farmers. But what I see is not only for farmers. As always, there is a small group of people that want to control
Mm.
the whole small companies and the small agave farmers, independent of agave farmers. So big group are trying to rent the lands and to buy agave from a small, so they can process to the big corporation. So
Mm.
uh, yeah, that's the bad thing. And also the last point of the big companies don't send the money back to
Mm.
reinvest in Mexico, and it has to be sustainable for everyone and for the environment as well. So I don't see a lot of investment in sustainability.
Yeah.
I saw in Scotland, the river, the Speyside River, is clean. It's actually Macallan use the water of the river for their process for alembics for condensation, and then they clean it the water and send it back to the river, and
Wow.
the water back to the river is cleaner than the water
Wow.
initially. So it's amazing. It's another culture, and
Yeah.
I wish we can reach that in the tequila industry, and
Wow.
to pay good to the actual jimadores and to the people to take the risk and harvesting and cultivate the agave. I think we have a lot of to do in the industry as tequileros.
Yeah, is there any way for consumers to find out anything of like if brands are doing sustainability, or is there I know you mentioned the Tequila Matchmaker app. We're always at Arte Agave trying to get out the word of like what brands are doing what, and but it's hard to discover who's doing what and who's not doing what. So I don't know if there's any way of finding this out.
It's very hard, Walter,
Yeah.
because at the end it's marketing. In this
Hmm.
this kind of thing, everyone it's a yes, I'm sustainable. I do this and this and this, but sometimes it's liar. It's just
Hmm.
it's not true, and it's just to sell more and to say that you are aligned with that. Unfortunately,
Wow.
so the only thing is to learn about the brand and to say, but yeah, it's very hard.
Yeah, I think that's, like to me, even doing our events, it's we've seen the progression. In the beginning it was just like, give me something different. Or, then there was like, what is reposado? And then what is anejo? And it's like you've had this progression, but I think, and now what we're trying to get to our audience is to say, there's other questions to ask when you are at an event like Arte Agave. There are other questions to ask, about your process, or about, what your distillery is, and things of that nature. What would you say to a consumer on trying to find out where that tequila came from? What questions should they ask some brands? Is there anything specific that they should try to find out about location or sustainability? What should consumers be asking these brands?
Well, quite honest, a very easy way is the app Tequila Matchmaker.
Hmm.
The app Tequila Matchmaker it helps you to really understand brands and distilleries. Distilleries, every distillery is linked. I mean, every brand is linked to a distillery NOM, which is a four-digit number that every distillery has assigned, and based on that NOM, that it's on the label of every product. So
Yep.
we have 1502 is the distillery we work with.
Gotcha. Yep.
It's the name is La Authentica. So there are around 160 distillery in Mexico to make
Hmm.
tequila into the region. So I think Tequila Matchmaker app is very good to educate the people.
Hmm.
I'm not saying only to discover the brands that sustainability and additive freeze. Yes, they do that. They provide information, but they also give a panel tasting grade. No, what is the
Yep.
grade? Where 100% is the maximum and 0% is the minimum. So an average of all the people that tasted can provide that. So consumer and panel, so they have the two grades, and
Got it.
also they have many information. I think it's a good app. I've seen they've been investing time and passion to build this app, and to take picture and to put information and to update.
Yeah.
That's my recommendation. If you and then once you discover some of these brands and go to liquor store, um, there's many podcasts like your podcast and other podcasts about talking about tequila. And if the consumer can make the trip one time in their life or
Mm.
every year to tequila, yes, that's the best way
Mm.
to Jalisco.
Yeah, Tequila Matchmaker, find out the nom number, and then, people are going to the bourbon trail all the time. Listen, if you're passionate about tequila, get on a plane and head down to Mexico.
Exactly, exactly.
Well, listen, buddy, I've taken up a lot of your time, and I know it took us a little bit to get this started. So I appreciate you doing this. I mean, Partida is going to be a big sponsor at the Arte Agave festivals this year, so we are super excited to have you as one of our presenting sponsors, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to be promoting the heck out of you guys. We're going to probably be drinking a lot of your tequila around the country. When are you in the United States again? Are you coming over here at all, or are you just busy down there doing what you're doing?
Uh, I don't have a date yet. Hopefully this year, by the second semester. We still consolidating the transition with the Lucas Ball,
Hmm.
and I'm going to Amsterdam in the summer. So I hope after the summer, by October, November, December, probably be in the U.S. and visiting. Obviously, New York is a hot spot for tequila, as well as California, old California, and Florida, Illinois, Texas,
Yeah.
and every market. So I hope I can go to New York and I will reach you and the team of Arte Agave. I never been there, and I wish to meet the place and the team.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you letting us. Arte Agave is in New York on September 16th, and we're in Austin, Texas on October 14th. So please let me know when you do come to the States. We'd love to take care of you. We'd love to just a quick little hello in person kind of thing. So again, I appreciate your time, and thank you, Partida, for sparing you for about an hour and a half here today. So we appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you, Walter, for having me and for taking Partida for featuring Arte Agave. We are super excited about it.
Awesome. Thank you, buddy, and we'll see everyone later. Thank you.
Thank you.